Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody. This is our January general meeting. There was a couple of questions because previously we had said that general meetings were going to be on the third Thursday of the month, but back in October we did announce, and I know there's a few people that might have missed that announcement. I think it'll just take a little bit of time to catch back up with everybody, but that we are going to change them to the first Thursday every other month. So, our next meeting will be the first Thursday in March, which I think is the 5th as well. Let's see. Sorry, the second of March it will be. And that is so that our executive committee doesn't get too worn down with a million different meetings a month, right? So we just decided to combine the two. So what happens is we're going to do our general membership meeting, and then immediately following the executive committee will stay on and we'll continue with our executive meeting. So that was the reason behind that. And that way the executive committee isn't trying to meet two different times along with a million other things that we do. I just want to check if there's somebody. Is Deborah on right now?
I'm here.
Are you able to take notes?
Yes, ma'am. I'm ready.
Fantastic. Thank you. And then Deborah, can you also watch the chat too? So if you guys are sending a chat to just me, can you send it to me and Deborah? Otherwise, you can send it to the whole group. So we'll just move ahead. Then should be a fairly quick meeting, and then we'll have some time for discussion at the end. So just to remind everyone of our mission and purpose: to serve as a historical, patriotic, and non-political international organization dedicated to honoring the legacies of those who served in the Vietnam War. Create a community that connects, supports, and advocates for each other, to maintain and honor the Vietnam War, educate and inform those seeking in history on the Vietnam War, and to work with and support the National Vietnam War Museum in promoting an understanding of the Vietnam War for generations to come. So with that, we'll just quickly go into our reports, financial, our executive board report, some advertisement, and then our membership. We are going to talk a little bit more. I kept it in new business for the speaker series and our newsletter. And then I'm going to give you an update on the museum. We got a spring fundraiser coming up. We have hired a new curator, and I talk about some volunteer needs there, as well as some available merchandise that we have to sell. And then some old business, honoring your veteran, which we keep in everyone, just for anyone who's new on the call. And we're going to have an update on the Women on the Vietnam War exhibit. So with that, we'll walk into our paid memberships. Since the last meeting, we have 5 new members, and then we have, and these are paid memberships. We have a 6th, and I actually also have about 6 voicemails that I've received since Christmas that I need to return, that are all related to the application. So we're going to talk about memberships in just a second. That is going to be, under reports as well. So with that, in last year, we received a $1,000 donation and a $500 donation. And then with our paid memberships and our renewals, we had a total income of $4,500. And with our expenses to date, we are looking at a bank account of $3,049. So forward, our executive board, like I said, they're meeting today. Some of the things that we're discussing is the speaker series, talking about some new ways to drum up some membership, and we're going to talk about the women's exhibit group. One of the things that the executive board has been looking at is the merchandise, right? So we wanted to be able to sell, shirts or bumper stickers stickers or, various items through Amazon Marketplace. And both Dennis and I have tried to get accepted into that part of Amazon. And we are using, the War Museum's code and everything, and both of us have been denied now. So, if anybody has any ideas on, another platform that perhaps, would do something similar, basically what we were trying to avoid was a heavy upfront cost. And be able to kind of do the whole drop shipping. So, you'd be able to order a one-off and, and they would make it. And I know that there are some platforms that do it. It seems that the profit on a lot of them isn't huge. However, maybe at the start, we don't worry about that. I'd love for you guys to jump off mute and sort of just add some, some thoughts if anybody has used any of those, for any other groups or anything. The nice thing about them is, you basically create the design and people can kind of decide whether they want it on a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, a hoodie, whatnot. So, but like I said, the kickback to us on anything outside of Amazon seems pretty low on those, but I don't know, at this point, do we care, or are we just going to use that for advertisement anyway, so people are using our group? So does anybody have any thoughts on that?
I've bought a few things off of Zazzle. They make stuff as you order it.
Yeah, that was one of those other sites that I was talking about that that the kickback for us is pretty low, but people would still be able to buy merchandise with our logo on it. So maybe that's all we logo on it at this point.
Yeah, I think we're more important. We're worried about advertising than revenue right now.
Okay, is that sort of what other people are thinking?
I agree. I think we need items available, whether we're gifting them for renewals or new members or at the spring event or whatever it may be. And I think perhaps not, but I think most of us would like to have a t-shirt or sweatshirt or jacket for ourselves. It's just walking advertisement. I think the lower profit trade-off for not having to order 1 million of something or worrying about who is going to keep them and ship them from is worth it right now.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought. Was I really didn't want to sit on merchandise. I don't think we, really are at a place financially where we want to sit on a bunch of merchandise anyways. And
Katie.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? I use Printify for my the stuff I sell on Etsy. Have you looked into that? I don't know. I only use it through Etsy, but I don't know how to use it as like a individual service, but it might be an option.
Okay, I'll look into Printify as well. So maybe that's the two that I'll look into is Printify and Zazzle.
Okay.
And, yeah,
And Cafe Press is similar to Zazzle also.
Yeah, I think you're right that we really want to have stuff available, especially, at the spring fundraiser and stuff, we want to be able to have these shirts available and, items available to buy when you have a large group. So even if we have to pay to just have some merchandise on hand and allow people to kind of drop ship and order themselves, that's probably, I know the cost of t-shirts and sweatshirts on there can get a little bit higher, but to be honest, I'm at this point where I'm willing to pay it just so that I can have something with our logo on it. I'd love to have a hoodie or something. And I know Susie, I don't know if she's on the call right now, but she had a pretty cool was it Debbie, they got a pretty cool mug or something or sweatshirt that said something cool with about about your dad being a Vietnam vet? Do you-
Yeah, I don't have all of my Christmas presents yet, but apparently Santa Claus brought some Christmas mugs that says um something along the lines of my dad went to Vietnam to protect a bunch of strangers. Imagine what he would do to protect me.
Yeah, so I just kind of thought, kind of some cool stuff, and that's the nice thing about the Zazzle and those things is you can really make a variety of shirts and things that say something on it. So if you guys have any ideas on what on any sayings that you want on the shirts, and then I will go ahead and look. What are thoughts on like a hoodie, like a big logo? Are we talking like just a logo in the corner? What do you think on that?
I would think
I
maybe on
think-
the back.
Big logo on the back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And maybe on the front too. I think big
Yeah.
is good because I think about like when I see our veterans, they have hats. That's how I know the hats, or some of them wear jackets. Like the gentleman that works at Target has a Vietnam jacket on. So very clear, like, oh, you're a veteran.
Gotcha. Okay, so a big logo on the back and a small logo on the front.
Yep.
I like that idea. I think, I think that would be nice. And if I could, should we just go with normal black and white? And then I think with those, you can choose your color actually.
yeah. I'd stay away from white.
All I wear.
Well, it would be nice to at least have the Vietnam ribbon and our logo in color.
Yeah,
Oh, no, I was thinking the logo will be in full color. I think we should have.
Oh, okay. Okay.
maybe just our name in a corner on the front and the logo on the back.
Yeah, all right. Well, we will, I will look into that and have a design and that will be what I will jump to. So the other thing, then I'm gonna jump away from that one and go back to then one of the other things. Let me see if I have it in my agenda. Oh yeah, okay, so I'm gonna wait to jump on that one. So advertisement, we do have more brochures available. And we're still asking you to bring them to some local VFWs. I know Crystal posted a photo of, she was just at a gas station and, they had some place where you could, throw some brochures in, and that's what she did there. I thought that was a pretty great idea. I mean, anywhere you can reach people. I'm telling you, if I was at a gas station and I saw something like that and didn't know anything about the group, I would definitely grab a brochure. I think that the next, we're going to be another round of it after I get the approval from the executive board after this meeting. But I think we're going to rethink just a couple of spots in the brochure, because I really want to make it very clear that this is a nationwide group. And I think people start seeing that Texas and they shut it a little bit. And so I want to find probably Crystal's on it. I mean, I think the brochure is a nice brochure, but I definitely want to ask for where, Crystal's got such a good eye for that, but I'd like to get it somewhere on that front. Where people just immediately know this is a nationwide group, and maybe have some statistics about, how many states we have members in or something, so that becomes kind of a first, like, because they do look at that because we're associated with the museum and just assume that we are only in Texas. I've actually had quite a few calls where I've had to answer that. So, and again, just talk with your family and friends when we're having a meeting, that you can open, anybody can invite anybody, and, maybe click that invite list and send off to, 10 friends and see if people want to just sit in and, and join, or post it to your wall or something. And, let's get as many people in on these meetings too, as we can. And, make sure you like us on Facebook and Instagram. I am going to mention the Facebook, the move over to the page is actually, I'm not 100% sure that we're going to do away with the group. What I'm finding is things like when I create an event in the group, if I create the event in the group, I can actually go and invite everybody in the group to the event. But if I create the event on the page, we don't have that option. So I think.
Well, let me kind of stop you there. I was going to bring this up in open discussion, but since we're here now, I kind of feel like we maybe should not be just inviting anyone and everyone to attend our meetings. I think it should be for paid members only, because when we do vote on things, like we are going to be voting on bylaws here pretty soon, the board can't just vote on that themselves, because we're giving ourselves, we're making up the terms and, the duties and all that. The general board members should all be able to vote on that as well. So if we're going to do that, then we can't just have anybody and everybody in our meetings.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree on that with, with the voting and everything, but, I like the idea that people can come into a general meeting and learn a little bit more about our group, and that might give, help them decide to join. 'Cause-
I agree. I think it's important for people to be able to, I mean, I wouldn't want to pay $25 to join, not knowing anything beyond a brochure. And I know it's a little different because we're Zoom versus everyone physically meeting at one location. But I've been in a quilt guild where everyone had to sign in when they came to the general meeting, and someone kept track. And if you weren't a member, after your third visit, you were asked to join, or you were very nicely asked to not come back if you weren't going to join after your third visit.
Oh, that's an interesting thought. I mean, what do you think about that?
I think that's hard to keep track of. As we grow, I think that's going to be hard to keep track of who is new and how many times they've been there.
Well, you can have Zoom lists. You can pull a list off who attended the meeting, provided they use the same. Now, if they use different things to log in, it's going to show up differently. But if somebody's really going to try that hard for a group like this, I mean, we've got bigger issues in the world.
All right.
Yeah.
But I
Uh,
understand wholeheartedly what Susie is saying, and having a need for control, especially with votes. And we want to be cautious, I guess, with input from people who are not members. But on the flip side, again, because we're meeting by Zoom, folks need to be able to test drive us, if you will.
Yeah. I get, I mean, how many, is there anybody currently on the call right now that's not a paid member? Just curious. It's all paid members on the call at this point. Okay. I don't know. But I think I mean, it's definitely an interesting thing. I don't want to, I don't know does anybody else have thoughts on that?
It's maybe
maybe-
something to not be solved tonight, but needs
No, I don't-
attention.
Solved tonight, but I think it, is definitely something to put on the agenda and to let everybody know that we'll be voting on maybe at the next general meeting. So,
Maybe if we invite people to come, but if we vote, they gotta step out of the Zoom, something like that, maybe.
You can put them in a waiting room. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
But then you have to know who's a member and who's not.
Mm.
You
I
can
think right
also
now-
split rooms too, but
Or-
then somebody has to facilitate both rooms.
Or you could do, if you know the emails, the email everybody signed up with, you send those people an email when it's time to vote. So only the people that are members will get an email. But again, that's management of emails, making sure you have the right emails. And I don't know whose responsibility, because again, we're volunteers and that's a lot of work. But that's another way. So then you say, check your email versus, oh, you can't, whatever.
Other thing is if we're gonna have just everyone on, then we could we could do votes the way we voted for board members to begin with. But that's a whole, I don't know how hard that was for you to set up, Katie, to do that for every single vote.
Yeah, it wasn't that hard when I got the correct link. It was hard because we ended up having to vote twice because I didn't realize there was a limitation on that Survey Monkey initially. So, but that other site that I think you and Andy gave me worked. So,
But either way, then it's
I mean, we
somebody has to do that. Or the other option, I think we could maybe do a live on Facebook, but again, that's another meeting. So
yeah,
Or we just trust people for now and say, if you're a member, not a member, please, you're not allowed to vote.
yeah. I mean, that's honestly like it is another. At this point, I don't think that we're that large of a group that we can't manage it, and maybe it's something that maybe we address at a later date if we start growing larger, and we just let people know that, it's paid members only for voting.
and I think there's a way that at Zoom, like you can vote through Zoom and like have a written printout type thing. Okay, yeah. So maybe then we could just, whoever counts the votes, double check and make sure that they're all members. That's easy enough for now. But
Yep.
yeah,
So,
You can definitely do the votes through the polls on Zoom. And
yeah,
then just make sure that if someone didn't use the honor system and voted as a non-member, then you would just kick out their vote.
it's easy enough to check, who's voting. So, yeah, I think that's a great idea. I mean, I think at this point, maybe, we discuss whether it really is necessary at this point. I mean, we do include it in the brochure of when our meetings are, and we do have the link on the, on the webpage as well. So I like the idea that, because to be honest, I would not join a group if I couldn't at least sit through a meeting and, and just see kind of the legitimacy of the group and, see kind of what was happening in the group and all that. So that, that would be something that I think is good. But okay, so we will, does anybody have any further comments on that one? No, it was a good point, Susie. Okay. So yeah, and that talks about members. So the members are receiving at renewal, and I'm just have to get the design and everything approved by the executive committee, but we are sending out anyone who renews each year. We want to send out a gift at renewal, so that just kind of a little incentive of go ahead and and renew this year. It will be either this first one that's a bumper sticker, or this second one that's a window cling. I think I'm leaning more to the window cling, to be honest, because I really don't like bumper stickers anyways. So, and then I'm just gonna, again, she doesn't realize that I'm signing her up for all these things, but I don't mind doing it myself. But Crystal does such beautiful designs that I like to at least get it approved by Crystal. And so she doesn't say, oh my God, that looks horrible. But I really was just kind of hoping just to make it real simple. So, I mean, as you can see, the bottom of that is just what the window cling would look like. And then we'll figure out what the background color would be. But, I put the website on there just so that people can go to the website and see our sons and daughters group on there. So, and I think it's pretty obvious when you go to the website to find the sons and daughters.
Yeah, I like the window cleaning too.
So, yeah.
Okay, and in reference to that, we did nothing for last year when people renewed last year. And so, like, I don't know about other people, but I have asked my family, did you renew? And they're like, I think so. I'm not sure. So,
Anybody who has renewed will receive the window clean. So it's not like you have to renew a third time. Like, I mean, you do have to renew yearly, but yeah, they will receive window clean.
well, I'm just saying that there's people that don't know if they're actually an active member or not. They can't remember if they paid or not. And because you don't receive anything when you renew,
Oh,
not even an email that says, thank you for renewing, you know?
When are you supposed to renew?
at this point, you're
I'm serious.
No, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just,
at your 1 year mark. So if you signed up in April, then your renewal would be in April. Deborah and I we're working on that because she's taking that part over. But you know, that fourth quarter, I think, was just hell for everybody. And so, you know, so I think there's a couple of things that just kind of slipped, and membership renewals was one of them. But yes, her and I have spoken, and you will receive something when you renew. And if you have already renewed and your membership is currently active, you will receive the window cling. If you're still in your first year, you won't receive the window cling till your renewal date. So if that makes sense, and we have a list of your, you know, whatever your certificate says should tell you the date of your membership.
and Jill, you get an email that says it's time for renewal. And there's a link to click on for you to pay.
Okay, so I just haven't gotten the email yet.
Right. And when, I don't know when you're,
I'm sorry, the past few years have felt like 20 years. That's why I'm literally like, I don't want to, you know what I mean? That's why I'm literally like, no, I'm really keeping track this year. It's 2023. It doesn't feel like I'm in a tunnel anymore.
hear ya. Oh gosh, don't I hear ya? Let me just look at something. Yeah, Jill, yep, you're in one of that fourth quarter one. So you were a November of 21. So you should have received it in November, but like I said, we did not send out links in November or December. So you will be receiving your thing soon here. We're just transitioning from me doing it to Deborah doing it. So we're backed up by a couple of months. So not a big deal. You'll get it. But yeah, so that's why you hadn't received. I think we were good up until I want to say October. I think I had sent out all the renewals up until October. Yes, so through October. So anyone that signed up from November through currently end of January. So it looks like that's about 15 people that will be sending renewals out for, that Deborah will be sending renewals out for. So, and when those renewals come, yeah, we are going to be sending out an email if you pay via online, and a letter if you pay, and then everybody that will get that window cling. So, like I said, as soon as that is ordered. So,
And where do we stand on annual renewals at this, lifetime memberships?
yeah, I mean, I still think that the board needs to come up with a number. We really, that's something that I think the executive board needs to, needs to figure out. We have to, because there is a lot of talk about that, about what that number would be for a lifetime membership. So that's something that, yeah, just add that to my list here that the board needs. Lifetime membership amount. Because yeah, we're past our first year now, and I think we said we wanted to get past our first year and then take care of that. So, okay. So yes, the membership still includes everything, including, we'll talk about the newsletter in just a second. And I think then we will go ahead with the window clings on top of the bumper sticker then. All right, membership. So our internet company creates forms. I was hoping that we would have it to show you by this time, but they are currently creating our application online. So people can apply online and then they'll be able to upload their documents right on that membership, or they can mail those documents after. But once they apply online, it will send them a link and they can pay online as well. So they can choose to mail a check in, or they can choose to pay online, and then payment will need to be received within 30 days of that application. Otherwise their application gets canceled and they have to start over. So yeah, so that's how that's going to work. But I think that that's going to be big for a lot of people too, because just being able to fill all that out. I know half the time when I've got to print out papers and fill it out, mail it and everything. So hopefully that will boost our membership as well. So 'cause right now our retention rate via Square is 65%. And I know we have some people that we're still going to be sending out paper invoices to. They're the ones that have not renewed, and that we just want to give them that last opportunity, that they didn't respond to the email. And so we'll give them another opportunity via paper and see if we can get a response there. Small gift will be that. So any questions on that? No, okay. Moving on. So Dennis was doing the speaker series, and he has going on right now. And so he's got our first speaker, and that will be in February. So you guys will get the date for that shortly. And then the thought is that the speaker series will be every other month, and it is for those paid members only. And we're going to find somebody that is going to, one of the big things that everybody wanted was elder care. So if anybody has some connections with their VA, or I know Crystal has a lot of connections in that as well. Maybe somebody that can come in and talk about various caregiving. You know, our parents and, are getting, especially being sons and daughters of the Vietnam War. I think caregiving is it's becoming a big thing right now. And so it would be great if we could have somebody that would just kind of, just give us a little more explanation on navigating that, the VA, and on, some elder care. So if you have somebody that would do that kind of a presentation, will you contact me right away and let me know? The other thing is we have a couple of authors that have contacted us that have asked if they can speak on their book. And we did have one woman Vietnam veteran who did offer to speak as well. And so we do have a couple of, speakers lined up. Like I said, it's every other month. And so we'll have one in February. And then we are currently looking for somebody to speak in April. So if, I think I would like to do the elder care with the VA navigation there in April. So that is, so keep that in mind, and maybe start, reaching out to some people that that maybe do that right now, or that are familiar with the system and everything. And possibly, I don't think these need to be more than, a 30 to 45 minute presentation with maybe a 15-minute question and answer at the end. So not a huge presentation, but I think, informative, and it'll be a great way, to get some. I think not every single speaker series will be for paid members only. And so, these kind of are important to be available, especially, to look back on for anybody who becomes a paid member, if we can, get them onto the website and to our paid member section. So yeah. So that is, so look for that date in February. And I think, the more people that can show up to that, as members, the better for, for those speakers. I hate having speakers and there's like 2 or 3 people on, even if they're recorded, but, yeah. So, moving on. The newsletter, so the executive board, was asked each to write an article. Like I said, that fourth quarter, I have no idea what happened in 2023 or 2022, that fourth quarter. I think everybody was just insane. I think, we had a few illnesses too for the executive board that came out. A couple of one parent had an accident. Another parent had a difficult diagnosis. I think, so unfortunately, I'm the first to say that we dropped the ball in the fourth quarter. And we did not have enough articles submitted to create the newsletter. So we are putting the newsletter out. That's okay. We're gonna, put the newsletter out in the first quarter here. And it's one of the things I'm talking to the executive board about after. And we'll get those last few articles and that newsletter put together, and it should be out, I would say, within the next month. And that'll,
Katie, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Did you need anything for the newsletter?
Yeah, we do. We need articles. Is what it comes down to at this point. We have four articles, and so that's just not enough to put together a newsletter. It's not,
You want a letter from I found my dad's letters from Vietnam.
Yeah, let's definitely talk about something like that. That'd be cool to have, have a section and, yeah, definitely.
Okay, do you want me to look through them and send you? I have no, I haven't read them. This will force me to start reading them. I have no idea what's in them. I don't think it's national secrets. I hope it's actually, like, I have no idea.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, touch base with me.
Okay, thanks, Katie.
Definitely. Thank you. So, and I'm looking for any member too that wants to, tell their story, just to do kind of a, a paid member feature section. So if there's somebody, even if you're not on the executive board, if there's somebody that wants to talk about their, their story, or, tell their story, sons and daughters, why they joined the group, what they think they're getting out of the group, and, maybe the story of, a story of their, their, again, why they're in the group. So if somebody wanted to to write an article about themselves or something too, that'd be great. All right, so moving on, our museum curator. So this is Ian Tillett. That guy, I mean, we really lucked out with Ian. He is phenomenal. This guy just came in with, boots on the ground, and he has been doing some amazing things. So he started in November, or was it October? I think it was mid-October, sorry. And has been reaching out to donors. He's been, filling out various, things for grants and everything, and really bringing a completely fresh perspective to the museum, doing some great things. And the board is really happy with him. So he came from, he was at the Frontiers of Flight Museum, where he was doing a lot of the same work as he's doing here, but he was not a director. He was not, here he is a curator / director. So he's able to really get out in public, and he's joining a lot of things in mineral wells as too, just to kind of get our name out in Texas as well. So he's joined a few boards as our director. And so he's connecting with some other groups as well. So that's Ian. His email is Tillett, TILLETT at nationalvietnamwarmuseum.org. So if anybody, and that email is all over the website as well too. So if you wanted to introduce yourself, to him. He's very personable, just a really nice guy. And I, with what he's done already, I just am so looking forward to the future with him. He's got some great ideas for the museum, and I think you're going to start seeing a lot more things. He has taken on the Facebook, so there's a lot more updates on the Facebook. He's doing more things with the website and everything. So yeah, so that's Ian. And now we'll go on to the fundraiser. So March 25th, that is in Texas, right? It's in Mineral Wells. It's going to be at the Parker County Sheriff's Posse.
In Weatherford, Texas.
In Weatherford, Texas. So the sons and daughters will have a get together again. At that event, we're going to discuss whether it makes sense to do it the night before or whether it makes sense to break off, before the so we'll figure all that out before, but there will be an in-person get together for the sons and daughters at the fundraiser. But get that on your calendar and come and join us. We really had a great time last year. Crystal was there, yeah, Susie was. I mean, we had quite a few sons and daughters show up. Yeah, it was, I mean, I thought it was a really great time. So, and if you have any questions on how to sign up for that, there is, I believe Ian posted it to the website, the invites on the website. I think by mail, the invites are going to start going out soon, Jim, if they haven't already gone out. So, and how we, we're going to do the same thing as we did last year with the basket raffle. So basically what we did was we collected a bunch of things, gift certificates. There was an Amazon list where people could purchase stuff off the Amazon list, and that went directly to Jim's house. And I say attention, Katie, because that was the way that Susie was able to separate all the packages between what was for sons and daughters and what was for museum, because as you can imagine, she pretty much runs the raffles and all that stuff, and really gets does all of that work. And so so there is an Amazon, there will be an Amazon, the link will be posted onto the Facebook, and then the entire email list that we have will get that link. That will have some ideas on it. Of course, you don't have to use those ideas. You can, search for something else that you want on Amazon. The other thing is, visit some local chain restaurants. Even if I'm here in Minnesota, I know they have some chain restaurants here in Minnesota that they also have down in Texas. So I could walk into one of those chain restaurants, talk to a manager, get a gift card, and that could be used for the museum or for the fundraiser. Or, if you're one of independent consultants, maybe you have your own business and you want to consider donating something, including your card and everything. We'll make sure that, that you receive credit for that as well, and that they're getting your information in case they want to reorder something that you have. So there's a lot of different options. But one of the things that I did want to note was that, just trying to see if I thought I opened it. Yeah. So Dennis sent out this, which we are going to post on the website, that you can print out and bring into any place that, that is donating to you. And this just kind of talks about asking for the donations. It's basically a solicitation letter. You can also print out this letter, and you could mail it along with, a request or something to, maybe you have a, local sports team, or, maybe you have a contact at a gym, or, anything really is, is what we're looking for, any kind of donations. So this solicitation letter will be available for you. we want to make sure too, when you're soliciting, I know there was some question last year. You are a sons and daughters of the Vietnam War. However, the donations are for the Vietnam War Museum. So I think that makes a difference when people are donating, that they know that their donation is for the National Vietnam War Museum fundraiser. So even though you're a sons and daughters, which, you know, is a subgroup of it, all proceeds of this fundraiser go to the museum itself, not to our group.
Yes. Yes, Dennis did mention last year that it made a big difference on whether or not people donated. They were more likely to donate to the museum than the sons and daughters.
Yeah. So, so that's one of the things that when you're asking for donations that, you know, that you can use. And then, the information about the fundraiser will also be on the website. So, you know, if you're donating to a company and they're asking questions about this fundraiser or something like that, you can definitely direct them to, you know, to the website as well for more information.
I do
Katie,
have a
what-
quick question though. It says on there to contact Dennis. Is he still in a position to be able to do that at this point?
Yeah, and we just received an email from him today, so that is in question, but it will be handled before this final letter gets posted.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll verify that he still is, but I think I'm fairly sure he will still be able to answer. I don't expect many questions when we're soliciting, you know, so I expect that he'll still be able to handle that. But yeah, so does anybody have any questions about soliciting? It'd be really great if, you know, if everybody could just, I mean, especially, you know, we're starting the year in January, and I know it's a lot easier to ask for donations at the beginning of the year than it is towards the end of the year. I do a veterans event, and it's always difficult in November because companies respond back with, well, we have a certain amount of money, and, you know, we've already allotted that throughout the year. So beginning of the year now. So I mean, if you go out to dinner with your family or something, you know, maybe ask. I've also had situations where, you know, I'll go into a place and say, hey, if I buy a $25 gift card, will you donate a $25 gift card? You know, and that's one of the things. And then I just turn around and use my 25 gift card for myself, but then I've got a donation. So, so yeah, so that's, you know, that's another way to look at it too. But any questions on that?
What is our response if they want to make a monetary donation? And what is our response if they say, well, I'd love to, but I have to have a receipt?
Yeah, and both of those things are available. So we would use, the receipt would come from Ian. And so we would email Ian, and Ian would get them a receipt for any donation that they give. And then if they want to make a monetary, if they want to make that online monetary donation, they can go right to our website, and there's a donate button at the top of on the very front page that allows them to make an online donation. If they want to cut you a check right there, or, you know, mail a check or something, they can write it out to the National Vietnam War Museum. So all checks and everything should be there. And then if they wanted to mail it, at the bottom of this letter, there is an address where they can mail that check to. So, and that address is the museum, and can be verified on the website too. If there's any, you know, I know some people are like, well, I'm not just sending it to some address on a letter, but if they go to the website, they can, you know, they can see that too. So, any other questions? No. All right, let's get back to the PowerPoint. Okay, museum volunteers. I just wanted to push this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this, but I know the museum is looking for more volunteers. The nice thing about it is that you can volunteer as little or as much as possible. Maybe you only have one day a month that, you know, that you have available, and maybe that day changes from month to month too. They're pretty flexible with volunteers. Maybe you can volunteer one day a week, you know, maybe you can only volunteer for 4 hours, or, you know, maybe you can do a full day, whatever. If you're volunteer, you know, if you can only do a sit down job, there's sit down jobs available, there's stand up jobs available, there's, you know, various things, but, you know, I think our volunteers do get a lot out of it, and, you know, it's a great museum, and I think the people that you meet while you're volunteering are just some amazing, amazing people. And so, yeah, so I think that that it's definitely worthwhile. There's information about, you know, these jobs and the various volunteer opportunities on the website. But, you know, really seriously consider doing it. Now, any volunteers with the Sons and Daughters will get a special name tag that specifically says Sons and Daughters of the Vietnam War. When they're volunteering, you have to volunteer 3 times in order to get that name tag. And so we have already started the process for those name tags. And so we're going to be getting those out to any of our members. And then that way, when you're at the museum too, you can, you know, talk about the Sons and Daughters as well. And, you know, I think what better way than to do that. So I am running a little behind on time, so I'm going to talk a little bit. I'm going to try and go fast. I wanted to throw these out there. These are some promo items. So when I was in Texas at the museum, they are not shipping these items from the museum. So what I did is I went ahead and filled a bag with a limited number of each of these items, because I wanted to be able to offer it to our sons and daughters here. So go ahead, take a screenshot of that, or take a photo of it with your phone or something, and let me know if there's some items. Now, you guys are going to have to pay for shipping, which I don't think's gonna, I'm not gonna overcharge you for shipping. I'll charge you whatever, you know, whatever the shipping costs, depending on what you're ordering. I can't give you a flat price because I don't know what you're, you know, what you're gonna want, but these are the options. There's I mean, the insulated mug or the insulated tote is pretty nice. I have one, and honestly, I use it for everything. I use it at the grocery store. I use it everywhere I go. That travel mug is really nice. The notebook and pen, the flashlight, water bottle. So these are the items that I have. Again, a limited number of them. So you guys are seeing them first, and let me know what you want to order, and you can pay online, or you can send me a check, whatever, you know, whatever it is. And I will let you know what shipping is going to cost as soon as you order it. So yeah, so any questions on this? There is more items. I know Ian is working on adding a lot more stuff to the museum website at this time, but they're updating the gift shop, and there's all kinds, you know, so these items have never been available online. So you guys are special only because I stole them from the museum. Now, Jim was like, you make sure that they're paying for these. I'm like, yes, everybody's going to pay for them. So yeah, so this is first glimpse of what's available. That notebook is just like a real small, it's, I think like I don't know, Susie, what would you say the size of that is? Like, it's I don't know, maybe a 5x7 or a 4x6. So it's not a full size notebook, just so you know. It does come with the notebook and the pen. So, all right. So moving along, honoring your veteran, the scrapbook, we are constantly getting more pages in, and so that is wonderful. If you haven't got your page in, just go ahead, send your page in. Correct address is to send it directly to the museum now. Previously, we were having it sent to someone. Now they're just sending them directly to the museum. So we're going to keep that in the slideshow. And then the Women of the Vietnam War exhibit. I don't know if Susie, if you had any kind of an update.
Not necessarily an update. We did get some volunteers. I did in the last couple of months some point send out emails to people on the committee for interviews. We have a handful of ladies that have volunteered. Fortunately, one of our volunteers from Facebook got us several more, so that helped. I haven't heard back from everyone. I'm going to have a meeting the third Thursday of this month for those that are on the committee, because I haven't had a lot of feedback from everyone. So I just kind of want to get together, touch base, and kind of get all that moving again. But we still need a lot more volunteers for interviews, to interviewees. My dad put up a flyer at the museum somewhere, and yeah.
Perfect. All right. And I think at some point too, we'll always continue to push forward with getting those interviews done. But moving ahead here in second or third quarter, we are actually going to start with the design concept as well and start doing some of the fundraising for that. So even though the interviews may still be going forth, we will be getting that design. So I think there's, this is going to be a big year, and, hopefully by end of year, we'll have that exhibit done. So that is really the goal. So, jump on that team or that committee too, even if you can only commit to one interview. Maybe you don't want to interview at all, but you want to have some input on, design or on fundraising or something. That's definitely, it's there. You're going to see that exhibit in the museum at some point this year. So that's going to be really big. And, at that point, this is all the slides that I have. And I think we are, because I started, I think like 5 or 6 minutes late. So I successfully got it done in an hour. Open discussion. Is there anything anybody wanted to talk about, or anything that you'd like added to the agenda for the next meeting, or any kind of open discussion? No. All right. Well, I think, this has been great. I'm going to go ahead and hang on one second here. I'm going to stop stop the recording.